Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our final path day of the spring semester. And this session is URI Transfer for Health and Health Administration. And I'm happy to introduce Victor Silva from URI, who's going to tell us about the University of Rhode Island. Hi, Victor.
Morning, Jess. Morning, Shan. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen with you folks, and then we'll get started here. You can see it just, yeah, there it is. There's a thumbs up. So thank you everyone so much for joining this morning. Really appreciate it. My name is Victor Silva, and I'm the transfer counselor here at the University of Rhode Island. I think the biggest part, in understanding the transfer process, and a great place to start, and using our visuals, our website, because that really is going to be your guide to the process, and making sure that you have access to the contact information for myself and other folks, on campus that you might have interest in speaking to in regards to your specific programs. So, a little bit about the university itself, for those that are familiar and those that aren't. We are the largest state institution, four-year state institution in the state of Rhode Island, flagship institution as far as a land, sea, and urban grant institution. About 14,500 undergraduates on campus, and our breakup is almost 50-50 in-state students, out-of-state students, and that accounts for international as well. So a great mix of people that you'll be in the classroom with when you make your transition to the University of Rhode Island. So getting information from our website and continuing through the process to make sure that you have all your questions answered about your programs and about transferring to the university. We start at uri.edu. I would have you click on the admissions link. And then from here, we have a couple more clicks, but we have our one-stop shop for transfer underneath undergraduate admissions. So if you click on undergraduate, and then one more click on transfer, everything you need to know about the process is here. And it might be, more information than you expected. And the biggest thing is not to feel overwhelmed. If you need some assistance, the counselors and the resource that you have access to at the Community College of Rhode Island are fantastic. They're very familiar with the University of Rhode Island. You can always reach out to me. I'm available for individual appointments for any student that's interested. And I think that's the biggest thing, making the connection and making sure you feel the support of going through this, because it can seem overwhelming, and you might find out it's a little bit easier than you thought. Especially logistically, as far as what you need to go through the programs. So when we're scrolling down here, some things to consider is that we do have deadlines for our different terms. They're usually pretty late, so you still have some opportunity if you're finishing up a semester to get your final grades in, for consideration. But our spring semester typically is around January 10th, and then this year's fall semester, so anyone looking at fall 2021, is July 27th. So still plenty of time to make an appointment with me and submit your documents. So as a general rule of thumb, in order to be considered for admission, it's three things. Your common application, this link with the folks scuba diving takes you to the common application. So that's our admissions application for transfer students. And then your high school transcripts, and then your college transcripts from all colleges attended. So if CCRI is the only one, fine. And some students are like, Victor, I'm going to get an associate's degree. Do I still need my high school transcript? Or, I wasn't that great of a student in high school, but, things have definitely changed now that I'm at the Community College of Rhode Island. And those are all things that we can consider. With the transfer process being pretty transparent, there's also some gray area, and that's why I say every transfer situation is unique to the student. So it's worth making that connection with me. For our general transfer policies, when you look at our requirements, we do them on a credit to GPA ratio. So if you have less than 24 credits, you need a minimum of 2.8 GPA for our standard programs, non-competitive programs. If you have at least 24 credits but no degree, it'll be a 2.5. And then if you do have an associate's degree, it's a 2.4. And if you have an associate's degree or will have an associate's degree, by the time you enroll, you do not have to submit your high school documents. So some important things to keep in mind there when you're actually completing your own application. Now, we do have some competitive programs that especially fall within the programs that we're interested in today, within health studies and health administration. But I would say when you're looking at this other option, I'll go back really quick. It's right next to the general transfer requirements, but competitive programs. There's a few to consider. We do not accept students into our nursing program unless they're interested in our online RN to BSN, and you'd have to complete your associate's degree in nursing at the Community College of Rhode Island and have your RN license. So I know that's a big one, you know, if students are interested in nursing, I just kind of put that out there. Then we also have a kinesiology program that requires students to have some specific prerequisites, and that's a minimum of a 2.8 GPA, and then also to have general biology and anatomy and physiology completed. So if you're looking at these and when you're thinking about them, if you have more questions, let me know, but they try to be, they try to include as much information as possible here, so it seems pretty, you know, cut and dry for those students in looking at potential acceptances into these programs. So now when we're usually talking about transfer and working with transfer students, first thing is, you know, strength in programming, you know, making sure that the college you're transferring to, the university you're transferring to has your program and it's a program that you'll be successful in, transferability of credits and finances. So we'll talk about the programs in just one more minute. I kind of leave it to you, and I like to have the logistics taken care of from the beginning, but when we're talking about transferable credit, we do have a resource, and you folks have it too at the Community College of Rhode Island. I think it's in your registrar's website, but for us, it's our transfer equivalency database, and you could type in any search engine, URI TES. So you'll see it up here for me, and it's going to be this link that doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the University of Rhode Island, but you can see here in the URL, uri.edu transfer. And it's arranged alphabetically by institution. So we go to C, and I'm cheating because I know Community College of Rhode Island's on the third page here. But what we've done is we've evaluated almost every single class that you have at the Community College of Rhode Island and came up with an equivalency for it, or decided that there's no equivalency. So you can go through your program and see all the classes that you've taken and how they could potentially transfer to the University of Rhode Island. And for that, it's a general rule of thumb of a grade of C or better with classes that relate to your curriculum. And we'll talk about how they relate to your curriculum here in just one more second. I'm gonna check the chat. So now that we have this as a frame of reference, we do, you know, in talking about credits, we do also offer merit-based scholarships. For students to be considered for a merit-based scholarship, you need a minimum of a 3.3 GPA with at least 24 credits. And we also offer a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship. So if you folks have been getting invitations from PTK, Phi Theta Kappa, it's worth joining because it ends up, especially at the University of Rhode Island, being the highest transfer scholarship that you could receive, you know, merit scholarship from admissions. So that's usually the trend, you know, across admissions offices for transfer students. So definitely worth joining if you're getting the invitation to do that. Now, from our main website, so we can actually explore some of the programs and point you in the direction of some great resources if you're thinking about specific career fields and, you know, leadership instruction and, you know, making those connections for your particular field. If you go to academics from our main website and then undergraduate programs, it's going to be listed here, and there's a few different ways you could look by majors A through Z. You know, if you just wanted to have the list, and that's where we are now, or you could, you know, if you wanted to narrow it down just for the sake of example, oops, I'm going to type in health. Thanks for autocorrect. But anything that meets that criteria, if you're just looking basically at health, right? So that provides some pathway into those related fields, whether it's in biomedical engineering or all the way down into pharmaceutical sciences, nutrition, dietetics. So some great options here for you to explore. But if we take health studies just for the first one as an option here for you, I'm going to use this as my example because every program that we have, we list the same way. So you can access the information I'm sharing with you in the same manner. So if you're in the health studies track right now and you want to know potentially if I continued on with health studies at the University of Rhode Island, what does that really mean for me? So this program, it's an interdisciplinary program with opportunities in public health, health education promotion, health services, health-related research, working for nonprofits, hospital community agencies. So great opportunities there in a very general sense. You can see the specializations broken down specifically so where you can really narrow your education. But the thing I like to have students do first is look at the course descriptions here. And so when you go into the course descriptions, this is going to show you every class that's part of that major. So you get an idea of really what you're taking, you know, especially now that you'll be taking classes at the 300 level, 400 level, coming over to the University of Rhode Island. So you click on it, get some more information, look a little bit deeper. It's our course catalog, essentially. So going back, the other piece of helpful information is under this advising section. And this is going to go back to my thought about transferable credit. So what we have here are pretty much your pathway sheets, or we call them curriculum sheets. So you could pull these up, and it's going to list every course that's part of the major and how they're arranged and what they count for. So you can use this informally for yourself to say, okay, I've taken XYZ course. When you look at this database I told you about, you can see the equivalency that you have, and then you can cross-reference it against the curriculum sheet to give you an idea of which requirements those specific classes will meet. So if it's for a specific class in the major, maybe if it's a general education requirement, free electives. In any case, once accepted to university, I then send your transcripts out to the faculty to review for transferable credit. So this will be done for you by someone within the department anyways. But if you wanted to look through it yourself, I think it's a great resource and to understand what actually takes place in that degree. And then one more thing in this specific one to use as my reference. When we go to the department website down at the bottom, one of the features I like the most is the people. And when you're looking underneath here and you're looking at faculty and staff, all of the people listed here, all of your faculty have a bio associated to them too. So you can actually see what they've done in their particular field. So if we were looking at Dr. Sabik here, so you can see what research she participated in, anything that she's published, her formal education, organizations you might be involved with. And this is great because this is your opportunity to build your network, your professional network, to continue on into the field, whether it's going on for a graduate program, more levels of study, or if you're actually entering right into, this is a terminal degree for you and you're entering right into the field. So find out a little bit more about the folks you'll have in class, the great things that they're doing, and the connections that you could potentially have through them. Now, another program I want to highlight for the folks that maybe aren't so much interested in the formal health side of things, unless putting it that way, more of the clinical side, and maybe want to be in more of the administrative positions. Give me one moment here. There's always a hiccup. I'm gonna go health. And some students, and this one ends up getting left off a little bit, I think, by nature of the name. And it's a program I think really highly of, and I think it's really, really neat, especially for those folks that are interested in working with maybe children, but not in a teaching role, and maybe not in a full clinician role, but working with families, working with adults. But this human development and family science major has a variety of professional options, and they do range from counseling and social services, child and family development, health and aging. And within this path, you can become a family life educator or even an accredited financial counselor. So some really interesting areas here. And you have the specializations within that for mental health, counseling, gerontology, social work, early intervention, family policy, child development, psych, kind of to give some more information about the program. And then we also have the bachelor's to master's in 5 years, so an accelerated program to get your master's in human development and family science as well. And then similar to what I showed you for the health studies program, you can see all these HDF courses, so human development and family science courses that students can take that are part of the degree, and really, really interesting topics. So again, a program that doesn't necessarily get highlighted all the time, but I think is a great option for students looking in the area. And then nutrition and dietetics I want to bring up as a competitive program for us as well. So those folks interested in our nutrition program, all new students have to apply to that program as undeclared health sciences. And then from there, once you actually enroll in the university, you have to take a sequence of classes. So it's either 2 biology courses, 2 chemistry courses, and then 2 nutrition courses. And then at that point, you would actually apply to the nutrition program. And it's extremely competitive by nature of having these the two-step process for admission into the program. So kind of in a nutshell for, the resources that we have here, and then, what can be available to you and the things we can discuss a little bit more if interested in meeting with me. I'm going to go back to our transfer webpage just so you can see my contact information at the bottom here. This email address does go to me, so I am transferadmission@uri.edu. That's typically an easy one to remember. But then also I want to show you, it's at the bottom here, Meet Your Counselor. So you get to see me live here, but then when you click on this link from the website, you can go to transfers, and then this will actually take you to my calendar. So you can go ahead and see which appointments I have available on which on specific days, and depending upon if they meet your availability. If not, you can send me an email to the same website and say, Victor, I looked at the calendar, nothing really fits in. I always leave time in my day to make sure I can accommodate requests that for students that might not have the availability to meet during one of these times. So I look forward to meeting with you. I look forward to discussing your potential transfer to the University of Rhode Island. And please, feel free to reach out with any questions you have, and definitely take this opportunity now to ask some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. And Rosa, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any questions for Victor about transferring to URI? You can feel free to take yourself off of mute or put anything in the chat if you have any questions.
What would the degree for physical therapy be from CCRI to URI?
So that's a great question. So if you're looking at, so if you just stay unmuted for 1 second, Rosa, because I have to ask you some questions back and forth. Are you looking to go on to potentially into our doctoral program, the DPT program?
Well, I don't know, because CCRI does physical therapist assistant, not PT. So I know they're 2 different things.
Right. So for us, the typical path that students follow, everyone wants to go into kinesiology from that physical therapy assistant program. But again, it's a competitive program. There's not too much space. But our health studies major allows students to take all the necessary prerequisites to go on to their DPT or their doctorate in physical therapy. So most DPT programs don't actually require you to have a kinesiology major or something specific underneath. What they want you to have are specific units, and they could be 12 credits in biology, 8 credits in human anatomy and physiology, 6 credits in chemistry, a psych, and then, some general education classes. So while fantastic, and it's, super exciting that you're going to have that first degree in a related field, this next step on the in-between, if you're going to continue on for your continuing on in the graduate program, you don't need something as specific as much as just having the appropriate advising to go on to the DBT program. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And Rosa, please do reach out to advising at both CCRI and even through Victor, that they can certainly take a look at your specific situation and your specific list of courses that you've already taken and help you put together courses to continue to take will be your best transfer options. Either with CCRI or URI will be able to help you with that.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much. That was a really good question, Rosa. And I'm just going to wrap us up here then and thank Victor once again for being with us today. And thank you, Rosa, for that great question. Thank you for joining us at this session. And there is a whole full day of sessions today for our Health and Health Administration path. You can find the full schedule at ccri.edu/pathways/pathdays. And I'd like to plug our Spring 2021 Virtual Job Fair, which is happening next week, hosted on Handshake, April 14th from 1 to 4 p.m. And you can find that using that link that it is on your screen right now, or you can search for Career Services or Virtual Job Fair on the CCRI website. Thank you again for joining, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great day.